Now, we are just a handful of weeks away from the D23 event taking place by Disney, Bob Iger, and the creators of Snow White, like director Mark Webb, that are all set and ready to debut the official trailer right around September 9th to the 10th, so keep your eyes open for that. However, there are spells doom for this movie, as there's a lot of problems happening behind closed doors related to the marketing of this film and exactly what actually came out and about after a recent emergency meeting, ranging from the Snow White film to the Marvels, as well as the upcoming live-action remakes of some of the Disney animated movies. Let's discuss. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. And let's get right into the subject, shall we? Now, we know that there's a lot of things happening with Snow White 24, not just because of Rachel Zegler's past comments, but also based on the leaked photographs of the 7 dwarfs, as well as many of the plot leaks that we here have gone over. And let's not forget about the ongoing negative test screenings of Snow White. It's not looking good for Disney in the least, and they really are doing a lot of damage control behind closed doors to tame the backlash. Now, a lot of that has to do with a recent strategy that Disney is actually creating as we speak to tame pre-backlash before the movie even arrives in theaters. Let's get into this. Now, the thing about Bob Iger, and I've discussed this several times, that this is a guy that's very manipulative, very much a liar. I know it gets old. I call him Bob Liger. And he, at one time, promised that this movie was going to be a beat-for-beat take on the original 37 film. Obviously, that turned out not to be true. However, with Snow White 24 going through many problems for Disney to handle, the film is set to be the biggest box office failure yet for Disney. However, one big development has to do with an emergency meeting that recently took place for the upcoming trailer of Snow White to debut next month. The meeting that took place between Iger and the board held demands that were passed down to both Kevin Feige and Mark Webb for both the Marvels and Snow White as a film. The plan right now, coming from the Disney higher-ups, is to essentially delete and remove the remixed version of the Hi-Ho song from the Snow White trailer entirely to hide it from the general public and to avoid backlash. The early cut of the trailer reportedly showcased a large sample of the song that is in hip-hop/rap style fashion, with new lyrics added in by the 7 magical creatures, much like the rap song Scuttlebutt in The Little Mermaid. This comes as a response after the test screening of Snow White went south and got alarming negative feedback. However, Disney is still doubling down on keeping this song in the final cut of the movie, but they intend to now hide it entirely from the trailer. Now guys, let me just stop here quick before I get to the next piece of this development, is that here's the problem with Snow White, is that I feel that they are trying to be way too different, too edgy with this movie, too dark and gritty, to the point where it does not even feel like a live-action adaptation of the original 37 movie. Obviously, you know, it has no source material from that film, but even thematically, you know, even the overall tone, so to speak, of this film is nothing like the original film. It's literally borrowing elements from Lord of the Rings, and this is deliberate, by the way. This is what Mark Webb, the director, was aiming for. He wanted to make it very dark and gritty in style, and he kind of did that with The Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 to a degree, gave it more of a depressing, gritty, low-level tone to it. At least that's how I, saw things with those films. That's going to be applied to the Snow White movie. Now, the other problem about this is where things get even more complex, is that essentially Bob Iger and the board, they are going into a frantic phase right now. They are in full panic mode about what do they do with this trailer? How do they present it? And what kind of backlash can they expect? Because they know that the mainstream media really spread this all around based on the leaked photographs of the 7 dwarfs. Basically everybody has seen that image, not just people that go on the internet and look up everything about the latest news about a specific movie or a franchise. Literally everyone pretty much saw those leaked photographs of the the 7 dwarfs that are called the magical creatures in the upcoming Snow White film. That's what's making this movie facing to becoming the biggest box office flop of all time by Disney. If not, maybe even ever, entirely. We'll have to see. However, they are instead inserting another song to replace the Hi-Ho song that's going to play over the footage that is more of a chorus-esque song in fashion. Additionally, they will also now officially be hiding the 7 magical creatures and keeping their appearances down to a bare minimum in the official trailer. Some board members in the meeting even brought up a proposal of canceling the plan to debut this trailer at D23 to prevent getting a bad response in person and in front of a crowd. However, that is still a discussion that is ongoing between board members to this day. The intent is to hide the Hi-Ho song with a last-minute frantic movie made by Bob Iger, passed down to the marketing team for the Snow White film, as 2 trailer companies are still working hard on the footage presentation. Now, look, I think that they got the idea, some of the board members, to not feature this trailer at D23. I think that they got that idea when Kathleen Kennedy got nothing but crickets at the Star Wars Celebration event back in April. You guys may very well have remembered that, where nobody was clapping for Kennedy, nobody cared. The same exact thing happened at the Indiana Jones 5 situation, and that overall premiere, nobody was clapping for her. And so I think at the end of the day, Disney realizes that, you know, things are really beginning to heat up now. More and more people are waking up, and it's not just, like I said before, it's not just people that go on the internet. Now you have, like, your normal everyday people that are beginning to realize that Disney is just forcing this agenda-driven nonsense into these franchises, into these films, and it's purely a way to change, you know, the way younger audiences think and how they see the world, essentially. That's basically what it's all about. You know, there's no doubt about that. You know, given that Snow White primarily is geared toward a younger audience, let's be, you know, real about that. Let's be very clear. It's not 100% geared towards adults. So that's the problem with this film, is that they are missing the bigger picture, is that this is supposed to be a film for younger audiences, and they're making it almost like as if it's meant for, I don't even know what, you know? The leaked photos of the 7 dwarfs make you wonder what kind of audience they're really trying to cater to. You know, I mean, at this point in time, am just so lost with Disney's way of thinking, where Bob Iger needs to be fired, shareholders need to be replaced, and the board needs to be restructured. We know that's not going to happen because of everything happening with BlackRock and Vanguard as, you know, one of the many or 2 of the many top shareholders. You know, really controlling everything here, funding everything, and taking a part in all of Disney. They believe in this whole DEI agenda that they want to keep pushing and pushing into everything Marvel, Star Wars, and just the Disney live-action remakes. That's why everything changed so suddenly after 2016. But anyway, guys, drop a comment below, fill me below in the comments what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.